Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be covering Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So this is a very batshit insane film, but I love it. For how absurd the plot is, the literal balls on John Carpenter. You know, I can't believe he produced this. And I've heard the writer, I'll get into the writer in a little bit, who the real writer was, but it wasn't. So, this film, my friends, is a total change compared to the first two Halloweens. And actually, in this film, so first time to explain the timeline thing. So, and basically, we find our first change in the timeline. Halloween 3 stands on its own island as its own film and its own universe. So it's not connected to any other Halloween franchise. And in this one, the original is a film that's shown on a TV in the bar. So this takes place, it's supposed to be, I guess, in our universe, where Halloween's a movie. So, but, let's with the plot. Tom Atkins, he plays a doctor, and he's a really good protagonist. A little underrated protagonist in this franchise. He's got this sexy. He meets this daughter of a patient that got killed by these So it starts. This man is getting chased by these guys in suits, and we found out they're robots later on in the film. And the next day after this girl's dad dies, I think her name is Ellie, the second protagonist. She meets the doctor, and so the whole plot of this film is trying to find out, and they go to this place, this town, it's kind of this Irish roots of this, of Samhain, which is, Loomis pronounced it Samhain. I believe it's connected to that somehow. The Easter Islands, I believe, it's some, the head, it's something in, the button, but I'll explain that in a little bit, but so we find out the doctor has some kids, and his wife is played by the actress who played Annie Brackett in Halloween. Since, which I imagine it might have confused people at first, but then when you realize that this is in its own universe, then it makes sense. But, so back to the whole, villain. The villain is Conklin, or Colonel Conklin, something like that. And he's a very great villain. Also, one of his robots is played by Dick Warlock, who played Michael Myers in Halloween too. And there's even a cameo from Jamie Lee Curtis over at Intercom in the town or something like that. Let's talk about the best scene in this film, which is probably the most shocking. To I imagine for 1982, it would have been extremely shocking. But the best scene in this film is, so these testers, I believe, they're highfalutin and close with Colonel Conklin, in the company. They bring their son in, he gets to try on the pumpkin mask, because the whole thing is there's three masks that this company, Silver Shamrock, has made: the pumpkin, skeleton, and the witch, or the jack-o'-lantern, skeleton, and the witch. So the jack-o'-lantern mask, the kid puts on, and the TV starts showing the special where it's got the pumpkin flashing the jack-o'-lantern, and that very catchy jingle. A little annoying, but that's an extremely catchy jingle. 8 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. And the kid's head starts melting, it's in the pumpkin, in the jack-o'-lantern mask. It starts blending with his skin. When he falls, snakes and spiders crawl out of it. It just rots and stuff. Somewhere through the chip built in the back of the mask and the TV, it affected the thing, and it caused it to the waves or something. The brain wave. It's somehow that through the chip, that's put a little bit of that energy from the stone hedges, that the mask is able to do that, and the kid's head melts, and it's shocking. I bet even if you watch it nowadays, but when I think I first saw this one in 2015, so I was more shocking than it is back then than it is now. And then in 1982, when this first came out, you already know, this had parents probably we can't let our kids watch this. I mean, they still love any horror film, but to see a kid his head melt, you don't see his actual head, but you see the pumpkin melt on him, and he's running. Yeah, then a snake either bites the father. The snake that comes out of him bites the father and the mother. So then we find out that that Ellie, you know, the doctor even banged her, but we find out Ellie was a robot too. So when he kills her, she has like the same yellowish goo. And according to Dick Warlock, it was like a type of orange juice like type stuff that they had him like very nasty looking, but apparently it tasted okay. So then the ending of this film is him calling the stations, stop it, turn it off, turn it off. He gets two to take it off, but the last station still shows it, so we're supposed to assume that at least half of the United States population of kids that had the masks are just dead now. And it's kind of sad we never, I'm glad, the way it ends feels extremely great to me. Because it really keeps the anthology aspect. If this film would have done successful, we might have got a Halloween 4 that was a anthology too, but unfortunately, by this point, you want Michael Myers with Halloween, so it was back to Michael Myers for the fourth film. And I'm not complaining, because Michael is one of the greatest horror characters of all time, but it would have been interesting to see a world where they would have kept with this anthology aspect. And this is actually, I believe this film is the last one that John Carpenter had actual, creative, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill had creative, impact in. I think his name was on it. He got credits or something like that, or not credits, but money every film, obviously. But he wasn't involved with any of them from 4 to all the way to the one in 2018. But yeah. So Halloween 3, it's not my favorite, but it's a very experimental film. Very, bad shit, insane plot, very different than the first two. And it's a fun Halloween film, so it has this very Halloween feeling to it, if you know what I mean. Maybe it's something about it that feels just like Halloween. So till the next one, I love you guys. Take care, stay blessed. And I enjoyed this film. Go check it out. Give it a second chance. If you've watched it before, you didn't like it. Christ loves you. I love you. See you in the next one.